Ramsey here from the Rajathon YouTube channel, and wanted to do a quick tag. This is one that I was really interested in. Julie had some interesting questions. Her name is Julie from the Hungry Bookworm. This is the How Do You Read a Book tag. I'll jump right in. She's recently done a channel update, so go check her out. I'll link her down below, and I'll also link everyone that I tagged down below as well, and you guys can check all their channels out. Everybody I mentioned, I really enjoy their content and watch it every chance I get. So, 4 questions here, starting with question 1. How do you go into reading a book? Examples given were, do you do research? Do you read the back cover only, kind of the blurb? Do you go into it blind, or do you watch some reviews on YouTube? Or Goodreads, or wherever you do your reviews, right? For me, I have really enjoyed going into it with a little bit of information. I've since, like, early on in my reading life, career, kind of whatever. I don't make any money off it, so it's not a career, but it would be fun to be one. I was a big rereader. I would get a book, I would enjoy it, and I'd reread that book all the time. Like Way of Kings, I probably reread that book 7 or 8 times, just because I enjoyed it so much. I'd read it, and then I was like, well, I don't have anything else to read. I'll go ahead and read it again. And now that I'm doing BookTube, I'm getting so many great recommendations on books that, are a little bit like what I like, or a lot different, but sound amazing and interesting, like some great sci-fi classics that I picked up that I just have enjoyed immensely, that I never would have read if I wasn't doing videos on YouTube. And even some challenges that I've given myself, or other people have given me, to read historical literature, or biographies of certain historical characters, or Christian nonfiction that have expanded my mind and taught me things that I didn't know before. Books on race, books on poverty, books that just getting into manga more, stuff I enjoyed, but I was like, I don't know if I'll really get into that. Everything I've got here. I mean, splatter westerns, Dubliners by James Joyce. Books that I would have. I never read a King book before I started Stephen King, and now I've read 4. William Faulkner for The Sound and the Fury. We're doing Faulkner in August. Check those guys out; they're great too. So it's one of those things that I've really enjoyed, learning a little bit more about a book and learning what I'm getting into. I think that is one of those important things that I enjoy now, that I don't think I'll ever go back to just picking a book up blind. I did that one time, and that book's still on my shelf, and I've never read it. Question 2. Do you take a book at its face value? This one, I'm not 100% sure what she meant on this question. The way that she was describing it, she held up like a cover that was kind of ambiguous, and you go, oh, well, this has flowers on it. Do you expect it to be flowery? And no, I don't do that, mostly because I kind of know what I'm getting into. I grabbed a couple book cover examples just to show you guys. I've got Warhammer 40K. This is a Space Marines battle Warhammer novel, The Siege of Castellax. You've got a giant mech suit armor Space Marine, right? He may be a Chaos Marine, which is a whole nother thing that I haven't 100% found out yet, but I'm really excited to find out more about. But by this cover, I know we're doing intense space battle Warhammer 40K stuff, right? I know what I'm getting into just by the cover alone. But then here, The Shining, you've got a door with, I'm assuming, holes in it from something. You got red rum. General pop culture, you know what's going on here, but it's kind of ambiguous. It could be a scary tale. It could be, you don't know that it's a tale about a man who takes over a hotel and then slowly dives into alcoholism and learns a bunch of stuff. I haven't even read this book, but I know that's what this book's about. Because of just pop culture. It could be a cover where you don't know what's going on. I guess you could take it as something happens where somebody tries to break into a house. So that's an interesting take on it. And then you have Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. Just from the title alone, you probably take the fact that Abraham Lincoln, as a young man, probably hunted vampires with an axe. So I don't know if it's more of an idea of, covers with, because she held up a cover with just some flowers on it, which I'm looking through my books, and I don't think I have one that's that ambiguous. Book of the New Sun might be, kind of, but I know he's about a torturer's apprentice. Dune, he's standing in the sand. You don't kind of know what that is, if you can see this. but mostly I read fantasy. So generally, you have an action scene on the cover, or I read sci-fi and you've got a spaceship on the cover. Um, so I don't know if that question is exactly what she was intending for it, but that's kind of my answer there. Question three: do you read a book as the author intended it? She gave examples of: do you overanalyze the crap out of it? And do you look for symbolism where there isn't any? I think she was trying to go for fiction, like the type of fiction where it's a YA story and somebody on Goodreads breaks it down to a diatribe on the wage gap, or somebody looks at a book and they're like, "Oh, well, this is a book on feminism," and it's, whatever. I don't see a lot of that, and I'm really getting into breaking down books. So I was kind of curious about the question on like what she meant. I think maybe she's talking about like where an author is intending this book to be something, and then people are taking meaning out of it that that author may have never intended. But on the same hand, there are authors who do painstaking work to give you nuggets that they piece into their work that mean something later on, or that it alludes to something in history that you need to know context to know, or things like that. So I've really enjoyed digging into things, taking little tab notes. Let me show you this. The Sound and the Fury. I'm taking very detailed notes on The Sound and the Fury. This is a short book, but I've got maybe 25 notes in here about things that I found interesting and things that I wanted to dig deeper into and learn more about. I am watching analysis per chapter on this book on like what William Faulkner was trying to say here, his thoughts on racism, what he was doing there. So it's fun to analyze a book, but I think she was coming at it from a standpoint where it says sometimes authors don't want you to take their book and do all kinds of stuff about it. And I think her take on the question was, are you going to overanalyze something that was never intended to be analyzed in that way? I don't think she was ever giving people kind of grief for analyzing a book that was intended that way, or classic fiction or something like that. And fourth and final question: as a book lover, reader, reviewer, do you read a book differently knowing you're going to do a review on that book? Yes, I do. Her second part of that question is, do you venture into other genres for a review? Also, yes. Things that being on BookTube have stretched my literature taste. Things that I never would have read before. I don't think I'd ever picked up a Philip K. Dick book. I don't think I ever would have picked up a William Faulkner book. But I'm enjoying these things. I'm reaching for Warhammer 40K because I want to learn more about space battles, things that I've enjoyed and I want to dig deeper into. Isaac Asimov, go into the deep history of Dune, where beforehand I'd only read the first two books. Dig into 1984, where I had a great conversation about 1984, and I enjoyed breaking that down. So usually when I read a book, especially like sci-fi fantasy that I do most of my reviews on, I'm looking for key characters, key moments, things that stood out to me, character development moments, great plot points that I enjoyed, finding religious ideas pieced in from our human religions into fantasy worlds, dynamics between races of elves and orcs and space-based alien races and things like that. Breakdowns like Leviathan Wakes, the Expanse series, had a great breakdown on political structure for Earth, Mars, and then people who lived on the asteroid belt, and like the difference in how they thought of themselves as different people. So it's fun to break down books that way, and I really enjoy it. I enjoy the sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes I look at it and I go, hey man, I think I see something there, and I want to talk about it in a review, and then somebody comes back to me and goes, no, you're wrong. But I like being wrong if it starts a conversation. Never do I intend to hurt anyone's feelings or be offensive. And I think people have picked up on that. But generally, everybody's been very kind with my opinions and my ideas. And I try to be that way to everyone else. So I've really enjoyed breaking books down and going into different genres and checking new things out. That's probably the greatest thing about this BookTube journey for me personally. So I'm gonna go ahead and tag 4 people here. Unity151, he does a lot of military sci-fi. We're going to do a buddy read of the Lost Fleet Dauntless. Actually, that book series has a pretty big fan base, from what I can tell. They're a very engaging and fun series. I think there's 5 or 6 books in that series, And I'm excited to read book 1. If you would like to join the Discord and join us for that, he is going to be kind of my co-host there, and I'm really excited to do that with him. The book Bella, I thought it was the bookish Bella, but it's the book Bella when I looked it up. We have been talking back and forth, and really enjoy watching her videos and commenting on her videos, and she comments on mine. Usually we go 4 or 5 comments every video because like we have a very similar thought process and stuff, and I enjoy really talking to her on that. And then Scott from Book Invasion, wonderful guy. I'm really excited. His channel, I think, is getting really close to 1,000 subscribers, or just over it now. And he's doing this cool series on sci-fi. Every time he puts out a video on this, I think he's done about 4 now. I love watching them. It's ideas on articles on if sci-fi makes us smarter, or if it makes us dumber, why people generally don't like sci-fi, people and our interactions with it, what we feel like it's going to do in the future. Great conversation. And then Monica from Mooney Reads, we've been friends for quite a while now. Her channel is amazing. She's recently done some videos on Afrofuturism, stuff like that, that I've really found very enjoyable and interesting to watch. She puts out quite a bit of videos too. I think she does 4 a week. She kills it. She's over in Spain, but she reads mostly in English, and love her channel. So if you guys would check those people out, all their links will be in the description, and I hope that you guys like this tag. If you weren't tagged and you want to try it, I'm totally down for you guys to try it. I don't know if you guys know who Julie is. Check her out as well. She's awesome, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.